Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Justice, and today we're going to be covering the 2025 horror film House on Eden. And the film follows a group of YouTubers who are vlogging for a ghost hunting episode at this old abandoned house when all of a sudden all these strange occurrences start happening. That's all I'm going to say about the plot for this movie. This is going to be a spoiler-free review, so if you guys wanted to see the movie, you don't have to worry about me giving anything away. But this film was written and directed by YouTuber Chris Collins from the YouTube channel KallMeKris, and it stars herself and fellow YouTubers Selena Myers and their cameraman Jason Christopher Myers. This film is inspired by their ghost hunting videos, which I can't necessarily comment on because I haven't seen them myself. I watch Chris's channel typically only for her true crime videos, which I really do enjoy those a lot. And she comes across as a very bubbly and funny and entertaining person. So when I heard she was making a movie, I was curious to check it out, but I also had my reservations. Since YouTuber made movies have quite a reputation. I mean, just look at that god-awful movie Smiley with Shane Dawson.
You start a video chat with somebody you don't even know, and you type in, I did it for the wolves, 3 times, and then this guy with the knife appears behind them.
Even thinking of that movie is just barf to me, man. I promise you right off the bat that this film is nothing like that one, and any criticism that I'm going to give towards this movie, I mean very constructively, because I can see what Chris was going for here, and some parts of it I think work really well, and then there's other parts where I think that it kind of falls flat. I guess the best question to ask though is, overall, did this movie break that stigma of crappy YouTuber made movie? And I would say it's a mix of yes and no. Right off the bat, this film isn't anything new or special, which isn't entirely a knock against it. It's just what's done here isn't anything that we haven't seen before. The film is extremely reminiscent of things like the Blair Witch Project, and if you've seen those kinds of found footage movies, you already know what you're in for with this movie. You have really slow pacing as spooky things pop up here and there before you get to the huge climactic scare that typically happens towards the final minutes of the movie. That's what's hard for movies like this, is if that payoff at the end doesn't work, it makes the slow burn aspect of the film not pay off, and I think Chris almost pulls it off towards the end, but it also doesn't quite hit the mark either. It's a problem when your film shows too much, but I think this one shows too little. It jumps too fast away from the scare. There are sequences that are truly creepy here, but other ones are undercut by limitations of the low budget, and I'm imagining the whole found footage aspect of the movie. And the camera is far too shaky, and it fully hinders the scare. I don't mind the camera getting shaky in these movies. In fact, it's a staple of this subgenre, but there are points where it moves around way too much, and as someone who gets easily motion sick, this is gonna sound like an insult, but it was literally nauseating for me at times, and they could have benefited from making the camera at least slightly more focused and less shaky in those moments, because more often than not, it's kind of obnoxious how shaky it can get. You also have plot lines going on with the characters in the movie, and the interactions feel kind of odd, and they dangle all these threads in front of you, but they never really go anywhere. And because they don't really add anything and they don't expand the character story any further, I do think they could have been cut, because it could have added more depth to the cast and made the characters more rounded and interesting, because as is, some of it comes across as flat and seems to be forgotten by the time the scene ends. And I know it may sound like I'm being extremely negative, and I'm not. I mean all of this criticism constructively, like I said at the beginning, because I don't think this movie is a dumpster fire by any means, and I can see the vision Chris was going for. I can see promise, since this is her debut as a director, so it's not going to be perfect. Parts of it are even going to be downright bad. But you can see that this film was a passion project between a group of friends, and for them to pull off at least a halfway decent film with some memorable scenes is completely commendable. It's far better than anything I could do anyways. For some more positive aspects of the movie though, there are some genuinely good scares in the film. There are a couple scenes in particular that I actually did like. And one, without giving it away, there's a scene with Chris and these light up cat balls, and I'll just leave that there because if you've seen it, I feel like you know what I'm talking about. I thought that was a really fun and memorable scene. Another thing that I'd like to throw out there too is Chris makes her character the most unlikable bitch on the planet, and the fact that she's playing herself just adds a little bit of camp to the role. I really did enjoy that, and it's kind of a vibe to see these shitty influencers running around in this house scared shitless. To wrap up my thoughts though, if you like any and all found footage films, or if you're a huge fan of Chris, I'd say give this movie a watch. It might be up your alley, but don't go in expecting the next horror classic by any means, because this movie is not that, but you can expect to have a few memorable scares and a decent enough time. Anyways though, you guys should let me know if there's a demand for me to make a spoiler-filled review on this movie, if you guys would be interested in seeing that, because if you're not, I'm gonna leave this review as is and just have this non-spoiler one up on the channel. And you guys should also let me know if you've seen this movie and what you thought about it. If you think I was being too harsh or too kind to it, you should tell me that too down in the comments below. And also, if you're new to the channel and you liked this video and you want more content just like this in the future, then you should hit that subscribe button. I'd love to have you around here. I cover everything and anything horror on this channel. But with that all out of the way, this has been Justice, and I really hope to see you guys on the next one. Take care.